channel. I told you guys we are switching it up to life as Drea and no longer Drea's Closet anymore because we are going to be showing a whole variety of videos. So as you can see today, I am in the kitchen, you know, Dine with Drea, follow that on Instagram. Usually on Sundays I meal prep, so I'm going to be showing you guys one of the meals that I'm going to make today. It's going to be a beef and zucchini bowl with some potatoes in it. So let's get started. So I just want to give you guys a little heads up. By no means do I think I'm a chef. You know, I can't tell you use this knife, cut it this way. You know, I do what works for me and what works for what I'm going to eat all week. So if you're here thinking that I'm about to be like, first step, second step, third step, this is how you cut an onion, this is how you use this knife, like, I'm not gonna do that. I do what works for me, like I said. So I hope you guys like what you see today and you'll continue to tune in. The first step of doing this is using these little gold baby potatoes, and I'm gonna dice them up so that they're real small, and then we're gonna put them in this bowl and mix up some seasonings. All right, so now that we have our potatoes all diced and small, I went ahead and preheated the oven to 400 degrees. And now we're gonna mix in some olive oil just to get the potatoes coated. And we're gonna season them. Now, if you don't really like a whole bunch of seasoning, you can do just salt and pepper. I like my food to taste good, so I'm using salt, I'm using garlic pepper, I'm gonna use a garlic powder and an Italian seasoning. So, make sure these potatoes get all coated. If you don't like seasoning on your food, that's kind of sad. I mean, I know some people have like high blood pressure or whatever, but there's other ways to get around that. So we're gonna coat these really well until they get really seasoned. And then once they're seasoned, you want to put them on the baking rack. I expected the oven to be done by now, but it's not. So they're just going to sit on the baking sheet until the oven is ready for them to go inside. And I'm going to show you them so you can see that I'm not just like stirring up air. Okay, so when you pour them out, you want to make sure that you put them in a single layer so that each potato can get the necessary heat that it will take to make them nice and tender. I probably could have used a little bit more potatoes in this, but I'm trying to cut back a little bit on the carbs because, you know, it's already summer and quarantine had me working out at home, but that's besides the point. So here are our potatoes, all nice and good. And while the oven preheats, we're gonna move on to doing the steak and the zucchini. All right, so while our potatoes are waiting to be put in the oven, we're gonna move on to doing the zucchini. You want to slice this in half long ways and then cut it in quarters. So that's what I'm gonna do so they're small enough to be bite-sized pieces. So yeah, let's cut up this zucchini. All right, so we have our zucchini all good. What we're gonna do is add it to the steak meat. Well, really it's beef stew meat, so it's not really steak. I mean, red meat is red meat regardless, but it's not really. One got left out. So now we're going to do the same thing that we did with the potatoes. We're going to put 1 tablespoon of olive oil in there just to make sure everything gets coated, and then you're gonna season, right? You want to make sure that you use enough where everything can get coated. Like I said, you want it to taste good. You don't want to eat food where you're not tasting anything, because that kind of sucks. But I really love this garlic pepper. It's like a staple in my kitchen. I use it all the time now. And we're gonna mix this up to make sure that everything gets coated with the olive oil and the seasonings. If stuff pops out the bowl, that means I'm mixing it good, okay? So, let's do that. Just want to go back to the potatoes. They're going to be in the oven for about 30 minutes, and you want to turn them when it gets to 20 minutes. So Those are, oh my gosh, y'all, I cannot wait to eat this, okay? Meal prepping is really my favorite part of the week because I cook things that I know that I'm gonna be okay with eating all week because, you know, the worst thing you wanna do is waste food, especially now we're in this whole pandemic, you know, nothing can go to waste. So yeah, we're gonna eat it up. All right, so now that we're finished mixing up, we're going to heat our skillet to medium high, and we're gonna add another tablespoon of olive oil to the skillet so that it can get hot. I use a cast iron skillet because to me it just cooks better. Also, my food doesn't really stick to the pan, which I hate that. Oh, I also want to tell you guys, make sure that as you transition to different phases of a recipe that you clean up your kitchen, because if you clean as you go, you don't have to worry about a whole big mess at the end. So while this is heating up, I also want to say right now we're only going to put the steak in the pan. We're not going to do anything with the zucchini just yet because the time to cook is completely different. So I'm going to add these steak bits in here and we are going to get rolling. This is like a really easy recipe, so it's going to take no time to get it done. So as this cooks, you're going to want to make sure that you're continuously stirring. I didn't use all of my steak because it just looked like I had too many. And, you know, I only need it for 5 days. I guess I could have had some for dinner today, but I'm not, clearly. So you just want to make sure that you continuously stir this as it's cooking. And we're going to let this cook for a little while, and then I'm going to come back to you guys with the next. Okay, so now that we have let that cook for about 3 to 4 minutes, we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of butter. Y'all saw I almost dropped that. Hands. And then we're going to add in 3 cloves of garlic minced. That's probably more, but I like garlic. So like I said, I do what works for me. We're going to let the butter melt all the way, and that's when we're going to add our zucchini. So I'll be right back. All right. Our butter is all melted. The garlic is cooked. So we're going to add in this zucchini. We're going to cook this for about 3 minutes. Once that's done, we just have to wait for the potatoes to come out the oven, and we're going to mix it all together. All right, so we got our potatoes out the oven. We have the beef and the zucchini done. So now what I'm going to do is add the potatoes to the skillet. And we're going to mix this really nice. Be careful because skillets tend to stay hot even when you take them, like the handles and stuff will still be a little bit hot. But this is looking really good. I'm gonna stir this up a little bit more and then I'll come back to plate them in the meal prep bowl. Okay, so this is what we're working with. It came out looking so good. So now I'm gonna plate it and just show you guys. I usually just like scoop and put some in here. That one has a lot of potatoes. And I'll put in here. I just like break it up and try to make it even. So I'm gonna plate these and then we'll be back. Okay, so that's all I have for you guys on this segment of Dine with Drea. I hope you guys try out this recipe. If you have any questions about measurements and whatnot and the steps, feel free to comment below. You guys can follow me at Dine with Drea on Instagram. And I hope to see you guys soon. Make sure you subscribe. Thank you.